Oof, guys, it's a very windy day today, and there's an open window right there, and I don't know how annoying that's going to be in terms of shutters making noises, but we'll figure it out, hey? And I hear you ask, well, why don't you just shut the window? It's not shuttable. Okay, here we are. UFC Atlanta was fun, wasn't it? Kamaru Usman's back. That's very, very exciting stuff because I think a lot of us were nervous when it came to that fight. I have done quite a bit of chatter around this already on my socials, so I don't want to repeat myself too much because I'm going to assume that most of you come from there. But overall, Usman did look really, really good. And it was great to see. I think majority of the fan base were very worried when it comes to, the name of Joaquin Buckley coming into this matchup. He was young, hungry, big boy, great personality, potential champ. I think he said that if he got this win, then he definitely would have been in that number one contender spot. But unfortunately, he's got to work on his wrestling because that's what let him down in that fight. Usman looked great. And we saw a vintage side to Usman, which was really, really good. And I think I would hope that newer fans were able to appreciate his style. I know not too many, or there's a select few that aren't big fans of wrestling, in which people normally say, well, go watch Muay Thai or boxing, but this is MMA, and I think Usman did a great job of that. That being said, Buckley put on a great performance in that last round. I got very, very nervous, and the PTSD from the Leon Edwards fight started kicking in as an Usman fan. There were a few moments there, and I was like, please hold out. I think when you think about that second Usman and Leon fight and, the Holloway Gaethje fight, you just really, really don't know how things look until that final bell has rung, right? Up until the very, very last second, both sides are still very much in it. So very, very lucky that Usman held through, but yeah, Buckley's got to get to the mats and practice his ground game. I think what's next for Usman, Belal is fun, or people have been saying just give him that title shot. Has he deserved that title shot? Look, I would like to see one more, that being a Belal fight. It's not entertainment-wise my most favorite, but I think it makes sense and there's a history there. But I did also see quite a few people say that if he were to get that title shot, then it wouldn't be surprising and we'd like to see it as well. So overall, I think if there is one more fight ahead of him, give him Belal. Or, I don't know, maybe it's even the loser of Islam JDM. But if they were to give him that title shot as well, obviously I'm going to be very excited if it's a JDM one, being an Aussie. And then Islam as well. I'm a big Islam fan too. And it's always going to be exciting seeing, that pound for pound number one go up against someone being now a former pound for pound champ. So there's a lot of things to get me excited, of which I did say in my last video, kind of feels like we're getting there, which is fun. And then what's next for Joaquin Buckley? I think Ian Garry makes sense. For me, Ian Garry or like a Carlos Prates. Ian Garry makes sense because, again, there is a story there. Buck versus Cuck. I don't like saying that, but if that fight happens, it's definitely going to be one that gets repeated. But I do think that, Joaquin Buckley, Ian Garry makes sense on paper. I think everyone else has kind of been calling each other out and has been matched up. This division is so much fun. But I do also say that Carlos Prates kind of makes sense just because they were both really hot names that would be coming off losses. So it would be cool to match them up together and see who comes out on top. But I think there's Michael Morales there as well. This division's just crazy. I think it's kind of difficult to go wrong. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if something went wrong. But overall, I think it's just really, really exciting to see Usman back, and it got me thinking, especially seeing Francis at the weigh-ins. It was all very exciting, and you just feel like, Volk's got his belt back, Usman's in the win column, going up against the new young guys as well is really cool to see. I think I did see a few things like, could you imagine Izzy gets a win or Francis comes back? One can only continue to wish. I'm very happy with what we've got, but that's in my Delulu brain that who knows? If you told me that this is where we would be in 2025, I'd be quite shocked. So you never know, right? A great win for Rose Namajunas. I think her and Alexa Grasso would be a really fun matchup. Not much to say about that one. Although overall, I will say the card was a bit funky, wasn't it? All of the main card went to a decision. However, that wasn't short of drama and entertainment with, what was it? The Brundage fight. It should have gone to, no, it should have been a TKO win because it ended up going to the scorecards. Now, I haven't looked into this too much and broken it down, so I could be technically wrong here, but just at the top of my head, I have not looked back on it at all. But at the time, I remember thinking at the time, it could probably go to the scorecards, which wouldn't have been fair just because that last round wasn't completed because they thought that it was that TKO, but then it was actually a DQ kind of situation. Very, very complicated. I believe it should have been a TKO kind of method of victory, but it ended up going to the scorecards, which doesn't make sense. So kind of annoying, but that's what that was. And then we also had Paul Craig's infamous illegal kick and then Bellato's Oscar-winning performance. I don't want to give him too much shit, okay? He has had a bit of a rough time when it comes to his fights, you know, his last fight being a draw, and then he had to pull out of this original matchup because of the herpes. The herpes. And then this one ends up being a no contest, right? Bit of a weird one. I think if he hadn't acted flopped over so hard, then it would have been a bit of a Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison situation that maybe if the ref had the same mentality, they'd take a point off, right? But I think he may have dramatized the whole situation a little bit, which led to him not being sure if he could continue on, and then it being a no contest, which is again also not what Paul Craig wants his last fight to be, right? This kind of reminded me in a similar way to the
Brundage
fight of the Cejudo Yudong fight. I think he thought behaving one way would lead to maybe a DQ win or something, that ended up going to but ended up going to no contest. See, overall, just a really weird and confusing night. It was fun. I think if you were to attend this card, it'd be, on paper, it was really good. I've seen much worse. I've attended much worse. But yeah, it was pretty good. I think there was some entertainment despite the main card being a lot of decisions. Wellmaker was really, really good. Hot prospect there. A bit sus when you think about bringing Martino back. I was excited to see Martino return, but the fact that despite his outside UFC record, you know, when he was in the organization, he was 0-2, and they put his return fight up against a guy that was 9-0. How do we make that make sense here, people? Right? Obviously, that first round knockout was brutal, and he's likely out of the UFC again, I would assume. But Wellmaker is a very, very, very hot prospect, and he looks good. He looks fun. Seems like someone that a lot of people would be happy to get down with and back, you know. Seems like a really genuine young guy. So I'm very, very excited to see how he moves up within the division. I think it also being the bantamweight division is just really exciting as well, because we know that Merab is one that seems so dominant that a lot of people are wondering who will be the guy to take the belt from him. So to have some fresh meat in there, that's not to say, obviously, we've got Corey, potentially an Umar rematch, this and that. But just a fresh name within the mix is really fun. I don't doubt that there is going to be, you know, a ranked matchup for Wellmaker next. He's got a lot of people talking about him. So I say 1 or 2 ranked fights before he gets a title shot, to be honest. I can definitely see him being fast-tracked. But I want to see him fight some tougher competition anyway. So yeah, I'll definitely be following him. Otherwise, that is it, I believe, at the top of my head for UFC Atlanta. We've got Khalil Roundtree and Jamal Hill this week. I'm going to be in the Gold Coast for Eternal 96. So that's going to be a situation where I fly back home and I catch the main card. I might miss one or two, but I'll definitely be watching the main event. So I'll be here to document that. I might vlog my Eternal kind of BTS thing as well before I fly to Vegas on Tuesday. I've got a few exciting things lined up there that I'm really excited to kind of share, vlog, and document with you guys. So thank you all for watching. I love and appreciate you all. Yeah, UFC is starting to feel exciting again, which is always good. So make sure you subscribe and follow along with everything that I've got coming for you. There's a lot of good stuff. Follow me on Insta and TikTok. Interact with a lot of you guys on Instagram, and it kind of relates back to all the content that I create on my other platforms. So yeah, until next time.